Published in 2006, Fiasco, The American Military Adventure in Iraq is a historical non-fiction work penned by Thomas E. Ricks. This book meticulously traces the trajectory of the Iraq War, from its initial planning stages to the tumultuous combat, all while asserting that the entire endeavor was marred by poor planning and mismanagement, attributed to both the George W. Bush administration and the U.S. Army. Notably, it earned a place among the finalists for the 2007 Pulitzer Prize for General Nonfiction. As a senior Pentagon correspondent for The Washington Post, Thomas E. Ricks boasts an illustrious career spanning over 25 years, during which he conducted hundreds of interviews and meticulously reviewed more than 37,000 documents. His stance on the Iraq War becomes abundantly clear through the book's poignant title, Fiasco. In these pages, Ricks unabashedly asserts that President George W. Bush's decision to launch the 2003 invasion of Iraq may ultimately be deemed one of the most extravagant actions in the annals of American foreign policy. Upon the book's initial publication in 2006, the Iraq War was still underway, a conflict that would officially conclude in 2011. However, subsequent editions of the book now incorporate a postscript that offers a brief exploration of the years following the war. In the wake of the 9/11 attacks, the Bush administration meticulously wove a narrative centered on the existence of alleged weapons of mass destruction, drawing tenuous links between Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq and the Islamic terrorist organization Al-Qaeda, which was responsible for the heinous attacks. Relying on his extensive sources within the U.S. military, Ricks unearths a glaring lack of substantial evidence to substantiate these claims. Nonetheless, these events laid the unsteady groundwork for the tumultuous occupation that ensued following the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Despite the warnings from numerous Middle East experts and military veterans regarding the formidable challenges of such an operation, the die had been cast. In 2002, a gathering of 70 national security experts and Middle East scholars reached a consensus: launching an invasion of Iraq would be an exceedingly formidable and intricate undertaking, rivaled only by the monumental challenges faced by the United States and the international community since the conclusion of World War II. When the United States embarked on the invasion of Iraq in 2003, it quickly became evident that the endeavor had not been meticulously planned. The U.S. military found itself sorely lacking in its comprehension of the region's culture and the intricate situation on the ground in Iraq. Not only were too few troops deployed, but those who were sent were woefully ill-prepared for the realities they would confront. Furthermore, there existed no comprehensive blueprint for the objectives that soldiers were expected to achieve during the occupation. Critical aspects, such as restoring order in Baghdad, establishing an interim government, recruiting government and essential services personnel, and ensuring the functionality of the judicial system, were left unaddressed, as observed by Ricks. It was akin to assembling a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, a hopeful endeavor that lacked a clear vision. Compounding the situation, internecine conflicts plagued the highest echelons of leadership guiding the invasion. Discord reigned between prominent figures like Colin Powell, Paul Wolfowitz, Donald Rumsfeld, and the Bush White House, as well as between the State and Defense departments, and even among civilian personnel within the Pentagon and the military. The sage advice of experts was frequently disregarded, and the dearth of adequate troop numbers rendered it exceedingly difficult to sustain control in the secured regions. Adding to the complexities, the emergence of an Iraqi insurgency after the fall of Saddam Hussein necessitated a shift in ground strategy, an adjustment Secretary Rumsfeld was hesitant to embrace. Rather than heeding the lessons of counterinsurgency from the Vietnam War, Ricks contends that the U.S. military emphasized force and retribution as a means of safeguarding American troops. Paradoxically, this approach served only to galvanize the insurgency. Ill-prepared troops, lacking sufficient training and mental readiness for their mission, often responded with harsh and even violent measures when dealing with local residents. These circumstances set the stage for troubling incidents, notably the scandal that unfolded at the Abu Ghraib prison, where both the U.S. Army and the CIA were implicated in grave human rights violations against detainees. In the initial phases of the invasion, after the occupation of Baghdad, the U.S. military made two pivotal errors. Firstly, they failed to dispatch additional troops to help secure the city. Secondly, they imposed a ban preventing thousands of Iraqis from resuming their government positions, including members of the Iraqi army. These missteps inadvertently fueled the burgeoning insurgency, ensuring that it had the manpower required to pose a substantial threat to the U.S. mission in the country. Furthermore, American soldiers routinely conducted cordon and search operations, involving the invasion of tens of thousands of Iraqi homes and the unjust detention of innocent civilians. These actions sowed seeds of resentment and support for the insurgency among the local population. As the protracted war unfolded, the costs mounted significantly. Originally, Paul Wolfowitz asserted that the invasion would be self-sustaining, funded by the oil revenue derived from the occupation. However, the reality deviated from this optimistic projection, with American taxpayers compelled to shoulder the burden of financing $5 billion per month in expenditures during 2004 and 2005. This diversion of resources from the United States left the homeland susceptible to additional terrorist threats, a paradoxical outcome considering that these threats were, in part, proliferating due to the U.S.'s faltering efforts to contain them. Rather than enhancing global security, the Iraq War stretched the U.S. Army to its limits, resulting in a situation with far-reaching consequences that would reverberate for years to come. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.